Afternoon, Coach. Evan Dudley, AL.com. The final non-conference game of the season is against UAB. Their story is one of the better comebacks in college football. How has the perception of that game changed considering the success the past 2 years, winning 19 games and a conference title? And a second part to that question, while you're an assistant here at Hoover High School, you faced head coach Bill Clark from UAB in the 6A title game in 2004 and 2006. How do you prepare mentally, physically, emotionally for a Bill Clark coach team?
Well, you kind of answered the question when you started talking about UAB. I know all those guys on that staff. Several of them I've coached with and coached against. Have a tremendous amount of respect for what Bill's done over the years. He was a fantastic coach. A lot of people don't know this. Bill was the first defensive coordinator at Hoover High School, but he never coached a game because a job came open at Prattville in the summertime. So they've built that program up. I've not had a chance to really look that far down in the schedule. We play them later on in the year, and we have a couple of open dates. So I know last year's team, they had a lot of seniors. I know their offensive staff, they do a fantastic job with Bryant Vincent. So, I think the last time UAB went to Knoxville, I think it went in overtime.
All right, Coach, we'll go over here to the left in the second row. Bob?
Hey, Jeremy. Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Tennessee obviously has a storied history, but the last dozen or so years have been a struggle. What's it going to take to get Tennessee back to winning consistently in a big way, and how close are you guys? How close do you think you guys are to doing that?
Well, when you talk about comparing Tennessee now to like me and when I was growing up, Tennessee was one of the premier programs in the country, and that's still the expectations of the fans, everybody associated with the athletic department, our coaching staff, and our players. But what comes with that, a lot of that has to do with who you play. And this league is very competitive. We have very good coaches in this league. Probably it's more competitive now than it's ever been. There's good players, so we got to do our part, and we have a plan as a staff. We've got to execute the plan, and our players, they believe in our vision and the kids that we're recruiting, and it takes a lot that goes into it, and we're continuing to work our plan.
Coach, we'll go here in the center section right here on the left aisle, second row.
Coach Pruitt, Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. How important is Brandon Kennedy going to be to the offensive line and his health? I know you're familiar with him, having coached at Alabama. And second part of the question, when you decided to hire Derek Ainsley as your defensive coordinator, I know you coached with him at Alabama. What did you see in him that made you think that he's going to have a chance to take your defense to the next level?
Well, the first part of it, Brandon Kennedy, Brandon's a guy that he started the first football game for us last year, and unfortunately on Tuesday he tore his ACL, and he's had several years there where he's unfortunately gotten hurt. Brandon's a guy that's worked extremely hard this offseason. We held him out of spring practice. He could have went during spring ball, but I felt like for him, we needed to hold him out and make sure that he's completely well before we put him out on the field. Brandon's a leader in our offensive line. Our players respect him. He's a guy that graduated, in 3 years, has 2 years to play. So we'll be happy to see him out there. When you talk about Derek Ainsley, Derek's a guy that I've worked with. I know what you're getting in him, and he's a guy that I believe in, and he's a great recruiter, a really good teacher. He knows exactly what I want done.
And Coach, we'll go over here on our right side.
Jeremy, you mentioned Myra Miles in your opening from your time at Hoover. How instrumental has she been in your development, and what was the reason behind asking her to join the staff at Tennessee?
Well, when we hired Myra, that was really my wife's idea. We were talking about, hey, let's put this together. Who do we believe in? Who do we trust? Who has the same vision that we do? And Myra's somebody that I worked alongside at Hoover High School. She happened to be retired and was available. And so, it took one phone call and she said she's in. So Myra's there every single day with me. She helps me along the way, and she don't mind telling me if she thinks I'm out of line.
Coach, we'll go back over the left side all the way towards the back.
Dylan Weber, dogpost.com. Coach, what about Jim Chaney and his time at Georgia did you like that made you want to bring him on as your offensive coordinator, and how has he been in that role this offseason?
Well, I think if you just look at Jim's time at Georgia, you can look at his time at Tennessee, and really wherever he's been, he's had a lot of success. And he's done it a bunch of different ways. I think it's important in this league that you know who you're going to go against. There's some really good defensive minds in this league, and it helps to have experience against them. Jim understands the University of Tennessee. He coached there before. So when it comes to hiring an offensive coordinator, I couldn't think of nobody else I'd rather hire than Jim Chaney.
Coach, we'll go right down here in front of us, front row.
How are you doing, Coach?
Good, you?
Joe Bombo, SB Nation Radio. He sort of answered the question that I was asking, but I was wondering, has Jim Chaney always been on your radar since taking the job with the Vols?
Jim's a guy that we coached against when I was an assistant coach at Alabama, and he was at Tennessee, and they gave us a lot of problems. Obviously, when he went to Georgia, going against him, you know when the guys that you go against in this league, who gives you problems, who don't, or vice versa. So Jim's a guy that, in my opinion, is one of the best guys in the country.
Okay, we'll take two final questions, start in the center section towards the back.
Jeremy, Brooks Cabina from The Advocate, Baton Rouge. Picking up Aubrey Solomon, speaking on kind of the NCAA transfer portal. How does it, affect the, roster management now, and from personal experience, from within your program, how you approach that when it might be across college football now?
Is the question about the transfer portal? Well, I have a unique view because I was a transfer myself. A lot of people said, why did you transfer? I signed with Middle Tennessee. I played there for 2 years, was a starter. And I left not because I was unhappy, just because I wanted to go fulfill a dream. These guys have tough decisions in making decisions where they're going to go to college. And sometimes they may not get it right. And to me, it's about the mental wellness of the student athlete. And I think everybody that's involved is definitely sensitive and really considers that. And I think that's one of the things that we have to put to the forefront when it comes to kids that want to transfer. We need to help them find their way. As far as the rules or whatnot, as far as eligibility, I don't have enough information to really comment about that. But as a guy that has transferred before myself, it worked out well for me.
Okay, we'll take one final question over here on the left.
Zach Bingham, A to Z Sports Nashville. Coach, you talked a little bit about Jared Garantano, your quarterback. What strides, being able to coach him for a year, has he made? And looking forward towards this season, what do you think he should work on going in to try to be a successful quarterback here this year?
Well, the thing that excites me about Jared is you can stand out on the field and you can see his arm talent. You know that he's a good athlete. Me being in the meeting rooms, I know that football really comes easy to him. He picks it up really fast. He can handle a whole lot. The thing that I see that excites me the most is the impact he's having on his teammates. I think that's a true mark of a leader, is having a positive impact on the people you're around. And I see him developing and doing that, and that's what excites me about him and the future of our program.
Coach, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.